Hi, it's Marcy Kennedy. I am here with Rise and Grind Picker for our our fourth episode already of the Reseller Network. So we're live on Tuesdays. We swap channels. One Tuesday we're on mine, the next week on Shane's channel, and vice versa. Tonight we have Tommy, the Bargain Effect, and one of my good friends from the reselling community, Destiny, the Shamrock Pixie. So they are awesome with their eBay, and we wanted to get some more insight from them, and of course have everybody open to questions and comments in the chat. So it looks like Pittsburgh is here. Every day I'm hustling. What's up, Nate? Lucas is here, and I saw some other names. Flippin', is it Crooters?
Crooters, it's some flippin' Crooters is how we say it in the morning.
That's Rebecca.
Yeah, awesome. It's awesome.
So how's your day been, guys?
Well, our day started at about 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We've been going ever since, and we went out for an early dinner, came home, stretched out on the couch, started watching movies with kids, was getting a little bit comfortable, and all of a sudden, Destiny's like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and she comes around out of bed, she's like, we got to be on their show in an hour. I was like, oh,
surprise!
Yeah. And you messaged me this morning reminding me, and I reminded him, and then the day just kind of took away from us.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it took off. It's been nonstop.
There's been times that I've been like, oh my God, I forgot to pick up my kid. I know, I get that.
Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm sharing this out real quick to a couple Facebook groups.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, and everybody who's listening in, if you haven't joined already, join the Reseller Network Facebook group as well. So we're on that. So what's a typical day like for you guys? Is it typical for you to wake up at 2:30 in the morning? What made you wake up at 2:30 in the morning, by the way?
I'm not gonna lie. Just to interrupt real quick. I haven't seen 2:30 in the morning in like probably 10 years. So
it is pretty general for me to wake up about 2:30 in the morning. I don't always get up and get out of bed.
Yeah.
But I got some arthritis and medical things that I just don't sleep well at night. So I'm up throughout the night, and usually my average wake up, get out of bed is somewhere between like 3:30 and 4:30.
Okay.
Is an average wake up for me.
Is that because you're bored from laying in bed, or you just can't wait to start reselling
I just
again?
can't lay in bed anymore. I just can't be comfortable, and so I got to get up and move around, move my joints around so they feel better. And by the time I do that, it's like, well, now I'm awake. I might as well go down to my dungeon and do some work,
Right.
And I just start doing that. The house gets moving about 7:30.
Yeah, I'm not usually up at 2:30 in the morning. So he was up, and this morning, I don't know, we were watching some mob stuff for Vegas when we fell asleep, because we ended up falling asleep on the couch. And I was having some crazy dreams, and at exactly 2:30, I just sat up, and I was like looking around, and he's like, are you okay? I'm like, I had some weird dreams.
Yeah, she had a dream we bought a house from Lucky Luciano. She's like, yeah.
It was a cool house. Just saying.
All of my dreams lately have been about numbers. All of these numbers about my business keep creeping in my brain, and it's like I keep turning numbers all night. I said to my husband the other day, I'm like, I wish I could just have a dream, just a regular dream, instead of just thinking about numbers all night.
Last month, I was just dreaming that I was packing Amazon shipments, and Amazon sent me a suspension email, and I woke up and sweat. I mean, that's like every night for me, so.
I like my dream better about buying a house from the mob.
Yeah.
I like that dream better too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so. I had one night. I had so much clothing to process for Amazon last month that I had one night where all I did was dream about processing clothes.
Yep.
You know, taking the labels off, scanning it into inventory lab, polybagging.
Absolutely.
No, Rebecca, we didn't have a bat this time. It's usually
No.
the only reason why I'm up in the middle of the night is if we have a bat, but we haven't had one in a very long time, so we're good.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've been watching the nature show actually because I'm trying to distract my mind from constantly thinking reselling. I've been watching the nature show lately, and they had bats on the other day, and you know they like crawl in their wings, and I was just like, ooh, they're creepier than I remember them being.
Well, and I try to I'm kind of a night owl. Like I see 2:30 in the morning going to bed, never getting up out of bed.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is like I try to really stay away from like watching a lot of reselling content because when you live it every day, it's tough to sit down and watch. Like I'm so busy throughout the day, I don't have time to sit down and watch YouTube. I don't have time, you know?
Yeah, I'll watch it while I'm working. Is what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I do too. You know, I have a 3-monitor setup here, and I always have it playing in the background, and every once in a while I can gain a little nugget of information or something I didn't learn. But with as much, you know, like I say, my morning starts 4:30 or so, and I don't usually call it quits till about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. So my YouTube's running usually all day, unless I'm just tired of hearing it and I turn on some music. But usually it's YouTube all day, and yet I still cannot watch everybody I want to watch. There's so much content out there that I can't fit it. There's videos that came out 3 days ago that I've been wanting to watch, and I just haven't gotten around to it.
But our community is growing so much. You know, there's so many new names, and you know, the more you do it, the more people you meet, the more people you want to learn from.
Exactly.
That's the other thing of why it's so hard to even grow a channel now is because you have so many people doing YouTube. The algorithm's just going bonkers trying to figure out which video to push out, which video not to push out. Because you got thousands of people uploading reselling videos. 4 years. I mean, I've been in the community for probably pretty close to 7 years, but I've only done YouTube for 2. And I remember sitting on Chad the Golden Finger Picker's channel in the chat talking to people 5 years ago. And
what has happened? I haven't seen anything from him. I did a name change, or is he just kind of off? Or
I think he's just like he's good. I think he's just kind of taken like he took a break from YouTube. Like I think he was just like, you know what, I don't need to do YouTube. Like I love YouTube. Like he loves YouTube, but for him it was just time. Like he's listing a lot, he's listing so much, and then like they have their grandkids and they're trying to spend as much time with their grandkids as they can. I think he's just like overbooked everywhere. And so he just don't have time for it right this minute. I talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he talked about down the road doing like some videos where you resurface and like restore stuff like coffee grinders and stuff like that. So
I know he went like I used to watch him when he had the show that he did with Pete, Craigslist Hunter. You know, I used to enjoy watching it. And then I know he was going to go into that magnet fishing thing.
Yep.
And I watched a couple episodes then, and I just kind of lost track of where he was.
I think he just kind of took a break, and like that's where like, you know, YouTubers has been around a while. Like I took a week off, and I'm just like I need a week. Like I need to step back, and I just need to do me for a week, and then I'll come back to making videos. You know, and I think that's a pretty common thing because YouTube's a very negative place. And
it can be. It very well can be.
And if you don't, like if you feed that negativity, like that's me. I need to take a week off and I need to get my sales in order, get Amazon in order. Then I'll come back to making videos. Like I never listen to the haters or nothing like that. I get a lot of them, but for most part, like if you go on YouTube and you're outspoken and you kind of like tell people what they don't want to hear, you're going to get people that don't like you. That's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So other than getting up at 2:30 in the morning, how does the rest of your day look? Do you guys go sourcing a lot, or do you?
No, we actually don't source. We don't source or get to source as much as we'd like to because we're small town living. Not many sourcing opportunities. I mean, we have a flea market literally right around the corner from us, but it's the same people every week with the same crap. You know,
From 5 years ago.
How far is it for you to like drive to a bigger city?
If I want to go to a Goodwill, I gotta drive about a half hour, 40 minutes to go to one Goodwill, because that's the next biggest town, and they have one Goodwill and one of those Bethesdas or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which is way overpriced, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'm not familiar with Bethesda.
If we want to do sourcing, like, okay, we're gonna go hit a day of sourcing, then we have to turn it into a 2-3 day trip, because we actually have to travel 2 hours to do that.
Couple hours or 3 or 4 hours.
And I'm not going to get up in the morning and go travel 2 hours and hit a few of the stores that I can hit, and then turn around and drive 2 hours home. So we usually turn it into what we call a workation, and we'll take 2-3 days.
This is interesting to me. This is like the most interesting part, because I grew up in a really small town, but I live now like I'm prime location in Illinois, where like I'm 2 hours from Chicago, I'm 2 hours from Indy, 2 hours from St. Louis, I'm 20 minutes from Champaign, Illinois, 25 minutes from Bloomington. I'm surrounded by big cities, but if I would have stayed where I grew up at, I'd be the same way. Like I wouldn't be able to source like that. So how do you make enough? Let me try to word this right. How do you find enough stuff to make enough income?
When we go on our 2 hour sourcing trips, where we got to go 2 hours away, we have a SUV that we jam pack full with a car top carrier on top of it, with a canvas car top carrier rolled up underneath the seat. And we just try to jam it as full as we can.
And then you just list it out of there.
Yeah. And occasionally, you know, we do have a little. It's not a chain thrift store.
It's like a mom and pop thrift store.
It's like a mom and pop thrift store, which we can get deals there. Their pricing's pretty good, but it's all low key sales. I mean, it's spending the dollar to make 15. You know, and I'm trying to get away from that, because I'd rather list 1 or 2 items to have $100 return, and not list 10 items to get $100 return.
And see, that's so I recently started doing like paper items, like ephemera and postcards, and some of the profits are a couple bucks, but it's like,
what's ephemera?
Ephemera is like it's like paper items, like any like paper programs, you know, anything that's like a paper item, and that's like collectible. And it's crazy. Like you can list, like, even if it's like a $3 profit. I took 140 postcard pictures in an hour.
Wow.
So it's doable, but I know what you're saying, because if you're going to buy like an electronic and you got to test it and you got to put the time in, it's not worth it for 15 bucks. Yeah.
You know, and sourcing is an issue, and anybody that, shameless plug, watches our morning show that I do with Anthony and Nate and Destiny, occasionally is in there. People know that one of our goals is, instead of us traveling to the merchandise and sourcing it, we just want to relocate ourselves closer to the product.
Yeah.
So that's one of our goals to hopefully accomplish by spring. Is ultimately, I don't want to move in the winter. I don't want to move in sleet and snow and whatever. But I'm telling you, once that snow breaks, I just want to squirrel away money all winter and move.
Yeah.
Well, and for you guys, if you don't move, it might make sense to have a death pile all summer. Like, just go yard sale, the crazy yard sale for every weekend, and just build up a huge pile and list it all winter.
And that's what I got. I got piles because I grabbed. Well, I'm not on any shortage of stuff to list, but I don't need to buy anything. I got enough to keep me busy for quite a while, but I still buy all the time, because what if it dries up especially over winter, because there isn't the rummages, there isn't the flea market around the corner, and if our little thrift store goes dry and that Goodwill a half hour away goes dry, so I got an abundance of stuff.
You're going to be driving 4 hours instead of 2.
Right. And then I don't know if you guys know who Jim and Tara are, but they turned me on because they used to live up here. They turned me on to the Wisconsin surplus site, which is another way of sourcing, which is great because there's some really good finds on there. But we're our area is so not sourcing because we're in the Wisconsin center of tourists. We're right by Wisconsin Dells, and so everything around here is geared on water parks, hunting, fishing, and camping. Nobody comes to this area to go thrifting.
The whole state of Wisconsin is. I used to work out of Janesville, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And
one of my sisters lives in Janesville.
Yep, I was a district loss prevention manager for Farm and Fleet, actually. So I had like about 1,000-mile radius or more, and I would go up to the corporate office, and even Janesville, it's like a little bit bigger of a city, and everybody hunts and fishes. Like you literally see gun racks inside trucks like everywhere. It doesn't matter where you're at, really. I don't think, but
in Wisconsin now.
I went live once with Derek through our flea market, and he was tripping out. He's like, "Dude, people are just selling guns on the table there like it's nothing."
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Wisconsin.
That's what we do.
Welcome to Wisconsin.
There, Kathy says, "I'll ship my death pile to you on a tractor trailer, Tommy. I could fill one with mine. Ship it away. I got a 48-foot shipping container to put it in." then
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
wow.
We that's what we rent for a storage unit. It's a 48-foot shipping container.
Kathy said she used to live in Janesville. Small world.
Yep.
But yeah, I spent a lot of time in Janesville. A lot of time, and it's a pretty cool town. It's cold. It's really cold. But
I like
Eric
the chicken in the mall. Just saying.
Eric said, "Smash the like button or give it a hug." I love that. Give it a hug.
Give it a hug.
Thanks,
That's
Eric.
awesome. It is funny.
Give it a big old hug.
So with eBay. So all right, I'm gonna get off track a little bit, but you just opened an Amazon account, correct?
Yes. Just got approved.
Yay!
So how do you feel about that?
I'm quite excited.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the I love eBay. I absolutely love it. It will probably always be my favorite platform unless Amazon becomes addicting,
Which
my whole goal, Amazon is a long-term goal for me because Destiny hasn't seen, I used to drive trucks, so I've seen all of the United States. Destiny hasn't really been anywhere. So ultimately, my goal is to have a business that I can operate remotely.
Yeah.
And Amazon seems to fit that profile.
Well,
if I could gear it up enough to be able to just travel and source and send stuff in and let them deal with the logistics of it, that would be great. And then I can still treasure hunt for eBay and carry a very limited amount of items with me, and they would have to be like the treasure, the gem finds. I'm not gonna.
Well, and that's like I tell everybody this, and I've probably told Marcy this on the phone. Like we've talked about Amazon, like we've chatted on the phone. I hate Amazon. I absolutely am to the point where I hate doing Amazon, but it is killer money.
I have a love-hate relationship with it.
My next 2-week payout's almost $7,000 for 2 weeks, but that's the thing is like I can't give that up, and I'm not confident that I could do that on eBay. That's just me being upfront. I'm not confident.
See, I love Amazon when my sales are good and I'm able to find inventory and good prices and the prices don't tank and all that other stuff. And then as soon as my, inventory dries up and then my sales start sliding down, the prices tank, it's like, then I hate it.
But
Right.
So it really kind of just depends on, the day, the week, the month.
But I love
hour.
I love eBay. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love eBay. Like, it is like my addicting treasure hunt, but that's why I have a pile about ready to consume me, is because there, there's like people that found my eBay store and they're like, you got 500 items. I'm like, dude, I do 700 orders a month on Amazon. It's not that easy to explain. Like, you are constantly sending shipments in at that volume.
Mm-hmm.
It's nonstop. And I feel like for you, like when you started, the best thing to decide is what kind of schedule do you want to have? You know what I mean?
Right. And with the eBay part right now, I don't mind working a 12, 14, 16-hour day on eBay between, shipping, listing, sourcing. I consider every aspect of going to the post office, and all that time. It doesn't bother me. I'm not as productive at it. I'll admit I'm not as productive at it as I should be because I hate listing.
Oh yeah.
And
And there it is.
There's very, very few things
There's
that
I feel way better
eBay.
now. I feel way better now.
I mean, there's very few things that, I mean, some people say, well, I hate listing this particular thing, or I hate listing clothes. And, I hate listing in general. I enjoy taking pictures. I love taking pictures. I feel I'm good at it. My pictures, I feel, are outstanding pictures.
Yeah. But, he's got good pictures.
if I could hand
known
off
for his photos.
If I could hand off like the listing part to somebody else, and Destiny was doing it for a while, but I have a real control problem. So,
Tell us about that, Destiny.
It's not as bad as what he's saying. My doing the drafts were good, but there were certain things that he wanted in certain places, and like the description and stuff like that, and certain ways of wording certain things. And so he would nicely tell me that I needed to put this and this in there. And I'm like, I did put that in there. Well, I changed it. You need to change it back to change it to this. And I'm like, you know what? I love you. Can you just put it in there, please? Because I don't know when you're changing things. Like he did. He changed it. I'm trying to think of the correct words.
For which part? Because I know I changed a lot.
Like he would want, so we would copy the title, we would put it in the description, then I would put size, measurements. Like he wanted only a couple measurements. I put all measurements in. That drove him nuts. But I told him, I said, if we have all the measurements in there, they can't message and say, hey, what is this measurement? Right. Because it's already there. It's already
and eventually they're gonna message. It's a matter of time.
And we did have a couple.
And we had a couple. And the thing that I was with is like, okay, you're spending this much more time to take all these additional measurements for the one person out of 100 that's going to ask for that measurement. I felt it was quicker to put your basic measurements in, and when you get that question, it was more time efficient to go pull that item and give them what they wanted versus doing it for every item that's not going to be asked.
Yeah. I mean, I could see it both ways. I think it's just like what.
But when I went his way, he got more messages on measurements.
And then he's like, okay, put the dang measurements in, whatever.
And I would switch up. I was going back and forth on free shipping, versus paid shipping and free returns versus buyer paid returns. And
I couldn't keep up.
I switched my model around so many times on eBay.
See, my model's been the same.
And then at the
tried
bottom,
so many different things.
At the bottom of the description, he went from thank you for stopping and checking out my item to please check out the rest of the items in my store. And I'm like, I can't keep up. So I had like 30 different pages of where I copied and pasted everything from the listing that he wanted me to make sure was in the listing so that I could put it in all the listings. And then when he would switch it up, like I had like 30 different pages of how he wanted things laid out. Okay,
Well,
templates. And so and then he would go back to, he would like flip flop between some of them. He had like 3 of them that was like his all-time favorite, and then it depended on what the item was to which template would go with what, and I couldn't keep up. So I was like, I'm just going to put this, and this in there. You do the rest, And so,
See, for me,
I love you.
Which is why they work well together.
I'll be honest. For me, I was the same exact way. Like when I very first started eBay, I couldn't like let up control. But I worked 10 years in corporate retail, and I remember like starting in retail, I tried to do the same thing, and I was working 70 hours a week. Finally, I started delegating, and I was working 35 hours a week. You know what I mean? It's crazy how it works, but
it was all right. I mean, it took me longer to learn certain things because I didn't understand what he wanted me to do. So I am not going to lie. There were many of nights that we would get into an argument because I didn't understand what he was trying to tell me. And I'm like, you know what? You need to do it yourself. And I would walk away, which sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing. And so I literally moved out of the basement because we couldn't get along because it was too much with trying to learn stuff. And so I moved out of the basement. I went all the way to the 3rd floor. Well, the 2nd floor, the basement, I guess doesn't count, but I went all the way upstairs, took over one of the rooms upstairs. That was my office. And then we'd bring it down. And I was like, you know what? I hate stairs. This stinks. So then I moved it to the main floor of the house where my desk was and stuff like that. And then I ended up moving back down here because it was just too much. I mean, there's been a lot of flip-flopping of locations and different things that we were going to do and this and that. And so, in the end, I'm on the main floor because I have my own thing that I'm doing right now. And I'm enjoying it. And he has the dungeon. This is his space. He has it set up the way he wants, and that's perfectly okay. Only time I come down here is if I need to go to the food pantry, the deep freezer, or we're doing a live in the morning together.
So
this is his domain.
Lucas Chacon has a question for you, and he says, what type of background paper do you use for your phone for pictures?
I use white shades that I pick up at our local thrift store for $1. I can actually show you. Whoops. I got a touch screen. Let's see. That is my area right there.
Good. That looks good.
And that's just a white shade. And up above it is a shop light fixture with daylight bulbs from Walmart that cost me $13.
Now that looks good.
Behind that white shade is a movie screen, a white movie screen, a pull down retractable one that I also picked up at our local thrift store for $5. So when I'm doing like long hang clothes, I just slide the table out of the way, and that's all I have. The tripod lights I rarely use unless it's something that's like got an overhang that'll cast a shadow on the front of an item.
Lucas also asks, do you use your phone for pictures?
I do. I don't use my iPhone. I have the iPhone 6S. I think it sucks with pictures. I use my Galaxy 6.
Yeah.
The Samsung Galaxy 6S.
Which I think he's holding up his phone.
And I have the iPhone 6. I have the S Plus, I think is what it is. I don't remember which one it is, but that's why I giggled.
The iPhone takes too dark of pictures for me.
Yeah.
And they don't give you much in the 6 as far as adjusting or brightening it. You can. It's just a pain.
This is the 8, and it takes okay pictures. This is the Google Pixel 4 XL. It takes amazing pictures.
Yeah, I heard those are good.
They're amazing.
I forgot to mention the other time that I come down here is when I'm delivering Tommy his coffee in the morning if I'm not on the show. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
Yeah. But I use my phone and I take the pictures and I do all my listings on the computer because when I started on eBay, I had nothing but complications using the mobile app. So I just don't trust it. I know a lot of people do it, don't have problems, but because I had complications, I just So
Marcy, do you use your phone or do you use a DSLR?
For
eBay pictures.
For my pictures, I use my phone.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I'll do my listing and then I'll do my listing from my desktop, set it into a draft mode, and then go into my phone and then put my pictures in.
I do it the same exact way. It's exactly how
I take the pictures on my phone and then I just Dropbox them.
Yeah.
When I take my pictures, it saves them to the Dropbox, and then they're available on all my devices. So I can take the pictures on there and then come to my computer and list, and my pictures are all ready to upload.
Yeah, I literally just take them on my phone, find the listing, hit sell similar, add the pictures in, save as a draft, and do it all, and then get on the computer and just list them from drafts. It's like that's how I've always done it, though. I've never done it any different way. And I'm like one of those creatures by habit. Like I like to do things like the same way a lot of times.
Yeah, me too. Once I find something that works well for me, I just stick to it. When I first started eBay, I started my listings, or I did my listings from my phone, but I don't know if things have changed or not, but I didn't find that all the features were there.
I don't know how you've done that because I got big fingers and I would be typing. I'd probably have like a whole 5 sentences of just misspelled words in the whole listing.
Yeah, it's just much easier for the desktop.
Yeah. But I don't think so when you list from your phone, the business policies aren't on there. They're not on there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't recall. It's been a while.
Yeah, and I have no idea because, like I say, every time I tried to list my phone, it would put in some defaults, and then if you go back, like there's times where I went and I would do it on my computer and I would save them, and then if we'd be out somewhere, I'd save them as a draft and then make them go live at different times of day from my phone. And it always seemed to change something. When I'd bring it up on the phone, it would change something.
Shipping.
It was usually shipping.
Yeah, my shipping got messed up if I tried to do it from my phone.
Yep. So I was like, forget it. I'm just not doing it anymore. And that I haven't tried it again on my phone probably in the last 2.5 years.
I used InkFrog for a long time because I used the VAs, and InkFrog, before eBay actually put their back end in for people that want to list for you, it would always mess up the shipping every single time, and you'd have to go in and manually change it.
Eric in Ohio says I use a Polaroid. Maybe that's why I haven't sold in 8 years.
That's why you haven't sold anything.
I remember, I sold on eBay years and years ago, and I remember taking a picture, getting it developed, scanning it on a flatbed scanner, and it was crazy.
Wow. That's all I have to say.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's insane. That just blew my mind. And that was the day where you got checks in the mail and money in the
you got checks or actual bills. You were selling something for $5, you'd get 5 singles and a little card in the mail. And
money orders.
You get a money order or a check, and then you'd have to wait 10 days for it to clear, and you would first send it out. But you had to go to the post office. You couldn't buy your labels online.
Yeah. But I just, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of old school, so I think it would be fun to like open the envelopes and get cash and stuff like that. I think it would be like, feels more rewarding than just getting stuff transferred into PayPal.
Yeah.
And you never see it or touch it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. What are you guys doing to prepare for Q4?
Q4 has never been a real big thing for me because I I sell a lot of used one-offy items, and usually not anything that I think people are looking to buy for as gifts. I think a lot of my inventory is stuff that you want to buy for yourself, but you don't want to give it as a gift.
Okay.
So my busy time of the year actually is Q1 when people are spending all their
Tax return
gift cards they got, and they're getting their tax return money back. That's when I'm the busiest.
So what?
So I just kind of Q4. I don't really do anything special. Maybe if I sourced newer items, which I probably would if I lived closer to a metro area and had newer items available.
Right.
But otherwise, is pretty much like any other quarter, and I just try to stock up for the Q1.
So what does your inventory look like?
My inventory looks very all over the board. It's probably, I mean, we've dropped off. We used to be about 70% closed, and I think we're probably down to about 25-30% closed. Probably another 30 in electronics, and then everything else goes from coffee mugs to mirrors to plush. Right now it's just pretty much I'm not niche down at all. There's things that I like to sell. I love selling vintage electronics. My money maker is home medical stuff, but I don't have any, like, when I go sourcing, I'm not like, well, I'm going out and I'm looking for shoes. I'm not hitting the bins for shoes, or I'm not hitting the bins for clothes or electronics. I'm hitting the bins for whatever I can turn a profit on.
When you say home medical, what kinds of things are home medical?
Anywhere from regular wrist braces to cervical collars to compression socks. Anything that like people that don't have insurance, that stuff would normally be covered by insurance, but they don't have it, and afford to go buy it retail. So not that I'm selling secondhand. I'm not going to sell some secondhand compression socks to somebody, but when I get them from the estate where somebody passed away and they had these brand new packs, oxygen tubing is a hot seller for me. And I get it.
Can't say I ever thought about oxygen tubing.
My
But it makes sense.
for cheap, like 10 cents a piece. And I sell it as fast as I can get it.
I have a buddy that he parts out CPAP machines. You can't sell the whole machine, but you can part it out.
I learned that.
Oh yeah, Fanita. I'm pretty close with her. She just said that I told her about PhotoFuse, and she's like, "Oh, I'll have to check it out." And she's like, "Oh, it's amazing." I don't know if you guys use PhotoFuse, but I love PhotoFuse. Like on like clothing, the first picture I PhotoFuse, and it just pops it and makes it like a perfect white background every time.
I have used it. I found it time consuming, and once I found like my setup, my lighting works pretty good. The only time that I really have a problem is if I'm trying pink. Pink gives me a problem, like a pink top. Pink on white with the bright light, just it washes off. But other than that, I don't really have a need to use an additional app or software to edit photos.
I use PicTap Go because I think my lighting setup is pretty good too, but I just need that brightness to it, and the PicTap Go works well for me for that.
That's awesome.
If I do anything, I'll use the editing features right within eBay, maybe just to pop the contrast a little bit, to bring out a detail on something, or if there is a flaw in a piece of clothing, sometimes just bumping that contrast enhances it so people can actually see us there, and it actually looks worse than it is, which I'd rather have than them not see it.
Absolutely.
When I was at eBay Open, they told everybody about the new feature that's not out yet, but virtually you can take your picture on eBay and it makes it white for you, and it's going to be built in. But right now you can beta it for iPhone. It's just not out for Android. And I was going to have them download it, but when I found out that I didn't have an iPhone, I don't have an iPhone. So there was a couple people that baited it, and it was pretty amazing. Like it literally looked perfect.
Well, maybe I should try taking pictures on my iPhone.
Maybe.
You might want to call. You might want to call and see if they can download it on your. I mean, you might have to. They probably wouldn't be able to do it remote, but they might be able to. It's worth a shot.
I want to tell a story real quick about his pictures. So when Tommy finally figured out his lighting and stuff like that, he got a message.
And that was a year process figuring out.
Yeah,
lighting.
it was about
wasn't
a year.
Something I threw together and just got lucky. I played with different lighting, different bulbs, different shades.
That's actually a really good point. You know, you're being realistic. You know,
I bought the Limo Studios with the umbrellas that are folded up in my rafters here because they just didn't cut it. And I spent a lot of money on different bulbs and different lightings and boxes and all of that. And
I'm still playing around with a lot of my lighting. I'll be honest.
The best thing I found cost me less than $15 total, which was a white window shade and a Walmart shop light with the daylight bulbs. The daylight bulbs made the big difference.
This is a Walmart bulb. It's a great value bulb. It is the only bulbs I use in my, and it's 5,500K.
Yep.
And
that's what's running in that background up there. Same exact bulb.
And it's a daylight LED, and it's amazing.
Yep. I mean, people come down into what they call my dungeon, and you gotta kind of come in, and the light switch is behind the door. So when you step down, it's dark. If you're coming in, especially at night, it's dark. And they come in, and I flip that light on, and they're like, "Wow, man, that's great." That's all I run down here is daylight bulbs because I did have fluorescent lighting with the soft light, and then I had the daylight bulbs above my pictures. But even with the soft white off to the side, it's still threw a yellow tint onto my pictures. And it took me forever to figure out where that yellow tint was coming from. So lighting can be tricky.
Yeah, I think I did the same. I bought a ton of crap. Finally, I have Lima Studio, the soft boxes, enclosed soft boxes with the diffuser back there, and they work pretty good.
You look like you wanted to say something.
I wanted to finish my story.
Oh, sorry.
I was just waiting to make sure. No, so after he figured out his lighting and everything, he got a message from eBay.
Oh yeah.
He was accused of using stock photos on used items.
Wow.
And they made him they picked out an item out of his store, and they made him, it was 2 items. Okay. Made him pick 2 items out of his store. He had to take certain photos of this picture or of these items
at certain angles. They wanted.
Yep. And send it in
to prove that I could, because I woke up and I had 2 listings removed, and he said that they were removed because I can't use stock photos on used items, which I know. I'm very aware of that. I call them up. I'm like, hey, these are my pictures. And they were like, they're identified as a stock photo by whatever their computer flagged it, thinking it was a stock photo. And I was like, it's my item. I have the item in hand. I took it here, and I told them exactly what I took it with. And they were like, well, can you just take it? One was a food processor. And he said, can you just take a backside square on shot of it and attach it to the email, blah, 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 that we send you. And then I don't remember what the other one was. I
think it was a shirt.
No, it wasn't clothing. It was a hard good.
Oh.
I don't even remember what it was. But they had me take a really odd angle. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll put a note on your account that they're authentically your pictures. And then I never had an issue. That was way in the beginning.
Yeah. It was like right after you got your lighting down to where it was pretty good. And so, yeah.
It's like a disguised compliment.
Yeah. And then I had an issue with them.
Your pictures are so good that they're shutting you down.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that was really the only issue. The other issue I had with eBay since I started is they took my top rated away because their computer flagged me as a drop shipper. Because we live in it's 2 towns. It's Adams Friendship in Wisconsin. and they're jam packed together, and the whole thing is 4 miles long, maybe to get from one end to the other side of the other town.
Yeah, it's
And
not long at all.
we don't like our post office that's a block away, so we go to the post office that's 5 blocks away, but it's a different zip code. So because we were shipping from a different zip code than our registered address, the computer flagged it as a drop shipper and snagged my top rated. And I'm like,
that's crazy.
I was like, if you look, you'll see that every day my packages go out from that same post office every day. I'm not drop shipping all these items that just happen to live at that zip code, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, the computer just did it. It flagged it automatically. And they corrected it. They took it. And
that's crazy though, is because eBay usually don't flag drop shippers, because I've actually made the mistake of purchasing off a drop shipper one time, and he wouldn't refund me, like never got the item. He finally refunded me outside of eBay. Somehow he went into my PayPal, refunded me, and it didn't flag as a refund on eBay. And he was trying to get me to give like my email, and I'm like, nope, can't do it. Nope. So I reported him. He got suspended. Like, I'm not anti drop shipping, but there's a way to do it the right way, and there's a way to do it.
Right. Exactly. And we have a whole other store that I actually want to gear to just drop shipping. And I had talked,
That'll take care of your sourcing issue.
What? Yeah, exactly. You know, and it was way back, right around the beginning of the year when, or fall of last year, whole big thing about eBay drop shipping, and it's over and you can't do it. And everybody, you know, and I actually talked to eBay because we got the other store with intentions of that. And I'm like, can I drop ship or not? And they were like, yes, and he told me you have to have a distributor, and you got, you know, you can't be top rated with it. But
you can't?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just got to do it the right way. You know, you can't.
But why would they take away your top rated?
They told me that you couldn't qualify for top rating because you couldn't guarantee a shipping time because it's going through 2-party shipping.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the only reason. But you can drop ship. The eBay doesn't have a problem with drop shipping, as long you can't go and post something that you see on Walmart's website,
right?
And list it, and then when it sells, go buy it from Walmart and have it shipped to them.
Right, but if I have a contract with the distributor, the distributor can ship it on my behalf.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what people were misunderstanding and abusing was, you know, they were doing it the wrong way. And then they got it all hyped up about how, you know, eBay wasn't allowing this and stuff like that. And it was, see, Tommy does research. Tommy does a lot of research. Constantly.
At 2:30 in the morning.
Sometimes, we will go, and I will finally be like, it's time for bed. Let's go lay down. You need to get at least a couple hours of sleep. And he's like, okay. So he'll bring his phone in, plug it in, and then all of a sudden, there's a glow in the dark room because I forgot to look something up. And
sometimes I can't, like, she can go in the bedroom and pop something on TV because we listen to the TV. It's probably where a lot of her dreams come from. But and then watch 5 minutes of TV and then roll over and fall asleep. And I wish I could do that, but sometimes I can't just shut my brain down.
Right.
You know, I'm constantly thinking, oh, where can I source this? Ooh, this online auction's closing tomorrow. I got to check and see where that's at. And you know, like, it's not going to make a difference really where it's at midnight till 7 o'clock the next night when it closes. I mean,
yeah, but that's the way my mind does too. It's like it's constantly on. It just doesn't shut off.
That's why I'm up to 2 to 3 in the morning a lot of nights.
Exactly.
See, Derek knows. He said Tommy does way too much research. It's a norm for him. Even before he got back into eBay. Because like he said, he did it way back when it first started and everything. But before he actually started this round actually of eBay, he did like 2 years, a year 2 years of straight research on nothing but eBay. I
mean, I didn't sit down every day and do it, but I mean, I was like, because I knew it changed drastically from when I did it before. So, like, what are the new policies? What can you do? What can you can't do? What can you sell now that, you know, CPAP machines 20 years ago, you could sell them, you know, you could sell pretty much anything on eBay.
Well, and I mean, 20 years ago, you could post a photo of a swastika in it, and now you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
there wasn't a Vero list. There wasn't, you know, it was totally different.
That list.
And now you can ship from home. So I'm like, okay, what do I need to do this most cost efficient, most time efficient, you know? And I wanted to make sure I started smartly and not just ended up going to the thrift store and buying a bunch of crap that now I can't sell it. It's worth something to me, but it's not worth something to everybody on eBay, you know?
And that's exactly what you want to do on Amazon when you first start. You don't want to send any shipments in. You just want to research and read rules.
That's what I was thinking. He's going to end up being, what is it, paralysis by analysis?
Yeah. Like, that's what you want to do. Like, that's what I did for, because merch fulfill there's different rules. For a year, I was just slowly learning Amazon without selling on FBA. Looking up on Amazon, I would go into Amazon forums and ask questions and sit there and read answers.
Oh, I read the forums every day. It's it's part of my morning routine. You know, when I like to, when I wake up in the morning, when I'm waking up, I like to look at my sales, you know, that happened overnight. And that's, you know, when you go onto Seller Central, right there in the corner is the forums. I always, you know, look and see what's going on with the forums and keep up with that. And then it's part of my nighttime routine. It's actually where I get a lot of, you know, the Amazon news from. That's a huge source of information.
Absolutely.
Love the forums.
And I belong to a lot of Amazon Facebook groups, and I have for a long time, because I knew, at least for, you know, my whole intention when I started on eBay was to start on eBay and Amazon. But then I got wrapped up in the eBay, and I was content with the eBay, you know. But then throughout the reseller community, it's like, wow, you know, eBay's fun and I love doing it, but Amazon seems to have a greater financial potential.
It's more scalable.
I think there's also a lot. There's a lot of YouTubers that talk extremely negative about Amazon. When in doubt, there is a lot of negatives about Amazon. There's a lot of positives about Amazon too. And I think instead of listening to all the noise, you just need to dig in and do the research yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't listen to people, because I don't identify as a guru. I identify as a dude that sells crap out of my basement. That's what I identify as. I'm not a guru. No one on YouTube is a guru at anything. They are just people like you and me that sell stuff. That's it.
Right. You know, and like I say, we have, you know, the morning show that I do with Pittsburgh, and every day I'm hustling and Destiny occasionally. And when we do our introduction, I'm just your average everyday reseller. I'm no guru. I have a lot of, I feel I have quite a bit of knowledge that I can share with people to help them out and learn things, especially if they're starting out. Because when I started, even though I did all this research on eBay, until you actually start getting into it, you still have a lot of questions. And I think a lot of resellers forget, especially if they've been doing it for a while and they've scaled to a bigger type of selling, they forget how difficult it is and how confusing it is when you first start. Things that we think now, like, we can pack an order and not think, just do it blindly, you know, just, okay, this goes in a poly bag, this goes in this.
I don't know. I still can't.
I know. I already know when I'm sourcing it.
I'm with Destiny
to ship it, and I think we forget a lot of times that beginners don't know that stuff that we just now automated. You know.
Did you see Kathy's comment?
No.
Product relocation specialist.
Yes, the product lead.
But, you know, I think that, like, and like, and I'm not trying to be negative, but like Amazon requires 100% different way of thinking than eBay. There are too many resellers. That's why they fail at Amazon, is because they're so in tune of, I want to buy it for $1 and sell it for 100. You might buy it for $1 and you might make $3, but you're going to buy 300 units and you're going to flip it in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It's just a different way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I was just talking with Anthony Pittsburgh the other day, and I asked him, because he fairly new Amazon account too, and he's been out sourcing a couple of times for Amazon, and he's picked up some product, but he's been doing eBay now for over a year. And I says, how different is it now when you go out to separate the two when you're looking and sourcing? Because now you're sourcing for both platforms, so you're carrying both mindsets with you.
Yep.
Sourcing at the same. How difficult is it? You know,
it for me at first it was. Now it's not. I can source 2 different platforms and not get hung up. Like after a while, like that eBay knowledge is never going to leave you. It's always going to be there. Right. That Amazon knowledge is the new stuff that you have to learn. Once you learn it, it just flows together.
Yeah. See, I'm still learning on, or trying to improve my sourcing for Amazon. You know, I mean, I know how to source, but I'm trying to improve it. So, you know, I'm having better selling products, you know, better ROIs, things like that. So I'm constantly, when I'm out, I'm constantly thinking Amazon, but if I see a really great deal, then I think, you know, eBay, you know, something I can pick up for a quarter or $1, but it, you know, maybe there's not a listing for it on Amazon, but I can find 10 of them, for example. You know, I'll do a multiple listing on eBay. That's how I do it now.
And I mean, I was out doing all right at Walmart a while back ago, and I wasn't finding anything. And I'm like, this sucks. And, you know, I'm walking around and I picked up a Mario game and scanned it. And they had 12 of them or 10 of them. It's $5. Showed up at $35 on Amazon. I was restricted because Nintendo is a huge brand that no one can really get ungated in. Well, I bought them for eBay and sold all 10 of them within probably 4 days for anywhere from about $27 to $31 a piece.
Yeah, still nice.
So still a good profit. I mean, not as much, but RA is very possible on eBay.
You know, and I've been scanning over the last year pretty much intensively. You know, even though I didn't have an Amazon account, you know, Destiny has. She's had a seller, you know, she was approved. So we've had the seller app for a long time. So I'm constantly scanning, like I'm sourcing for eBay, but I would also scan, like, curious. I wonder what this would go for. So we'd go into Walmart and I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go take this aisle, and I'd just scan the whole aisle. And then I gave a phone to to our son, I gave a phone to our daughter, and I was like, just scan everything, and if this profit shows up, let me know. They were just happy to be. We're pretty strict when it comes to electronics and digital stuff with the kids, because they get obsessive with it. So to them, it's not work, man. They got an electronic in their hand and they're able to do something with it. And I'm like, go nuts, scan. You know,
and we also made a game out of it as well, because we told them, you know, well, Tommy told them, you know, find me the 3 top items in this aisle.
No, I would tell them, like, give them a section.
Yeah.
Whether it would be like outdoor, you know, the home and garden, or it would be health and beauty, or it would be housewares. I would say the first one that can find me 3 prop that I can make X amount of dollars profit on, we'll be able to get to pick something out.
Yeah.
And it was on.
And so then you would both usually find the 3, but now, you know, only one could win. So now then they would go against, well, I'm going to find an extra one, you know, and then it's on. So I have my scanners, my little robots.
Oh, absolutely. I think the number one thing where people fail at Amazon is they try to sell big brands too quick. like I started out in books, and I did books for 4 or 5 months. That's all I did was use books. I was still hitting 3,000-4,000 a month. Wasn't big at the time, but it works. But it helped me get ungated. Used books suck. They're not fun. They're heavy, and they're not great. I mean, but they have
dirty.
They have good profits, and they're cheap. And I tell everybody that, and then you get YouTube subscribers who are like, "Hey, when can I sell Nike? I just signed up like 2 days ago." I'm like, "Dude, you're never going to sell Nike. So get it out of your head."
Right. And it seems, from what I went on there and found out what can a brand new seller sell. And I mean, it seems like there's a lot of open categories that are still out there for a new seller to be able to make money on.
Yeah, I tell people to start with home goods and party supplies.
Well, and I think
home goods and party supplies.
Like almost 2 years ago, like it was even more heavily restricted than it is now. Like when I started, I remember walking around Walmart and every single thing, party supplies, I was restricted in everything. I'm like, what in the heck am I going to do? Like I was scanning groceries and boom, restricted. I'm like, so I started with books and I was not restricted in any of them, but you would be amazed what you could find walking into Walmart for full price that sells for a profit.
Mm-hmm. Right. But even if you pay, $2 for something and you can buy 10 of them and you profit another $2 each time one sells, even 100% ROI is good on something you're paying full retail on.
Like I got a couple things that are like 30,000 rank. It's replenishable and I buy it for $1.50 and it gets me $1.50 in profit. Mm-hmm. And I sell like probably 100 of them a month.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I have one item that I buy for $1, and every time it sells, I make another $1, and I sell about 60 a month. Mm-hmm. So that'll work for me.
So
and then when I go to the store, I just buy more.
Derek NASCAR man says, so what's the best thing to do when I get deals I can't let go but don't have the resources? Call me.
Call someone you can offload it to. Yeah. And take a finder's fee, a small finder's fee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That if someone reaches out to me with a tip, like I'll give them $100 if it's going to make me a couple grand, or I'll take them out for a steak dinner or whatever. I mean, whatever they want. I'll give them a gift card.
That's a good idea. It's a good idea. Craig said he sold books on Amazon before you had the ability to scan the books.
No, he has an old account. Like he's like me and Craig hang out probably every night, and his account it's an old account. Like it's legit. He's had it for a long time, and I don't think he has daily payouts, but like 1 or 2 years before that, he probably would have had daily payouts on it.
Wow, it's pretty awesome. Any last question, guys? It looks like actually we're after our hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a bunch of cold medicine and die.
Yeah, poor Shane. I'm really happy you hung out with us, Shane. Thank you.
Oh, definitely. I don't miss stuff. Like I just power through it, you know what I mean? So and Tommy and Destiny, thanks for coming on. Like you guys are great. So
thanks for having us on. I would like to get you guys on either together or separately.
Yeah.
I know that we'd love to have you on our morning show that we got.
I'm self-employed, so any day works.
Whenever you're available, we don't have people knocking down the YouTube door yet. We're working on it. So
I'm talking about knocking down the YouTube door. If anybody wants to join us live, email us at the Reseller Network at gmail.com.
Yep.
Sorry, had to plug that real quick.
any guests, like new or seasoned, like we want new sellers. We want sellers that's been selling for a month, sellers that's been selling like Tommy for a decade, you know what I mean? Or 2 decades. It don't matter. You know what I mean?
and that's how we are with our show is, we call it the Entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking for guests of all kind, not just like Amazon and eBay sellers. Anybody that has a way to work for themselves and generate a revenue stream.
Yep.
We're interested. They don't have to be a YouTube content creator. They can own their own offbeat car detailing thing. Mm-hmm. We want to hear their story. We want to hear how they started, what the potential is, and can anybody do it? You know, if I'm looking for another way to create some money, like we're creating the printing thing that Destiny's going to run,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we want to hear your story, because I love to have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
And I don't like to have all my eggs in one basket. So,
I mean, YouTube's a stream income. I mean, eBay's a stream income, and I'm the same way. I have a rental property, and no one even knows about that. You know, so I think real estate is amazing. Like, and just like your t-shirt business, like it'll eventually get off the ground, and when it does, it'll be making money. You know, and that's where you gotta, like, businesses don't build themselves overnight. It takes a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Much
night.
love. Thank you.
Take care. See us in the morning on our show. Be on my channel tomorrow morning.
Yes, the bargain effect.
Yes, we have David M., the car boot picker, as a guest tomorrow.
Oh, he's awesome. He's a good dude.
Right.
And your channels, Tommy and Destiny's channels, both are in the description below, if I didn't mention it already.
It's 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, and the rest of them you're going to have to figure out, because I'm not good with time zones.
Good night. Oh, goodness. Good night. We have to put Shane to bed.
Right.